Well, once again, it's summertime, and you know what happens here at WNSB, Hot 91 to Solar VA. Here on Stay the Water, we have our Community Impact Series. The people that are doing the work on the ground in the community. That's right. Laws and public policy, they're just words on paper, but only actions speak to people in the community. And joining us today, we have none other than someone who's been doing the work for a while, and that is our Councilman for Ward 4, J.P. Paige. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us, as you always do, as we broadcast from the campus of the Norfolk State University, home of the Spartan Nation, from none other than WNSB Hot 91, the soul of VA. Listen, I don't know about you, but the weather broke, and I'm so glad we got a little rain just to cool us down for these hot summer days, because they are definitely hot. So, as always, we want to make sure you're staying safe, make sure you're staying hydrated, and make sure you're having fun as well, because we've been through a rough year. It's been a rough one. So we want you to let your hair down, but at the same time, be safe, be smart, and as always, make sure you make good decisions. Well, once again, for those that have been joining us as we are in our 7th season here at this radio, actually, what, 6-year season here on this show, we are covering our Community Impact Series. You know, we do a lot of policy, a lot of law. We talk a lot of heavy things that are happening here in the Commonwealth, more specifically Hampton Roads and the great city of Norfolk. But, you know, I love this time of the year because, especially in the summer and at the end where we do our good news series to talk about good news, but in the summer, we actually get down in what the young folks call 10 toes down, right? So we get 10 toes down with people that's been doing it for a long time. And listen, we are fortunate to have a good brother who has been doing it for years in the community in many capacities. And look, I'm honored to be here with him. Not only he's a good brother, but he's also a good fraternity brother as well. None other than J.P. Paige. J.P., how you feel this morning?
Man, I feel great. And thank you for such a wonderful introduction. And to that fraternity brother, yo, baby, yo.
Yo, baby, yo. Phi Nu, good brother, Phi Nu. To the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi, Phi Nu Pi. Brother, listen, again, you know, as I said before, you've been doing it for a long time in the community. There's so much that you've been doing, but not only just doing the work, but before we get into the work you've been doing, you're a product of this community as well, man.
Yes, sir.
You know,
yes,
and being a product of this community, it's a certain level of pride that you have. And when people see you, some of them still see that little boy.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, that's running around the community, riding bikes and so forth. But others see that success story. And I tell you what, listen, I'm going to let you have it. Tell us what this community means to you, what this university means to you.
Wow. That's a great segue in. First of all, the community in this university synonymous the same. You know, as we talk and we dialogue as to the beautiful growth of our university and how it's opened up, I often share those things that I believe if we don't get a grasp on could be left behind. Growing up in Norfolk, Norfolk State was our everything. I remember parents taking their children shopping to get clothes to wear to the Norfolk State sporting events. In a city that was, I would say, had more racial equity at the time, but there were more things business-wise for us in our community. And when it came to athletics, everything at Norfolk State was like our very own professional team. Baseball, basketball, football, anything that it was. If NSU was tied to it, the community of Norfolk was a part of it. You could not say community and not mention Norfolk State. It was a true HBCU and the heartbeat of our community. Matter of fact, Norfolk Community Hospital was right next to the university, which was an all-black hospital that existed in Norfolk. It's amazing as I think of all of the progress, how much we have lost as a community and as a people. We had all of our own businesses up and down Church Street, from furniture stores to clothiers to mom and pop shops. How could I not mention the great Simpkins confectionery? Mr. Joe Simpkins, a Norfolk hero and legend. My grandfather had a store on Church Street. It was just a vibrant community of us being together and doing for one another and ourselves without expecting help to come from anywhere else. So the transition to be at a place where through all of the ups and downs of my youth growing up, to make it to Norfolk State and not just to get in, but to actually graduate, the Pledge of Fraternity, and to have a vision set for my life. I owe so much to what it is that this university stands for. It is just my hope and prayer that others can. When we were youth, a lot of the sporting events, if you played recreation sports in Norfolk and you wore your jersey, you got into the football games for free. Wow. And when I tell you, nobody missed any of Norfolk State's sporting events. And I think we can get that back. The addition of Coach Vic was a tremendous win for Norfolk State. AD Melody Webb, she's doing her thing, a leader of leaders, and she gets the job done. Dr. J, I have to give her a shout out, and also the board and the things that are going on. But I just ask that we pay attention to those that have not quite bought in or seen the glory that those of us that have made it onto this campus have, and what type of research, what type of assistance could be done to make sure that our community grows just like the university is growing. And there's some great programs. There's some tremendous professors that work on grants that are in the communities that we serve, that see this vision and know the assistance that we need, particularly in our NRHA properties. And, just behold the green and gold. We're doing much, but it's still much more that needs to be done.
Listen, I just wish people can just see, what I'm looking at right now. JP, we don't do this show with a script. We have a conversation. That's why I tell all of our guests, when we come into the studio, I don't know if our listeners know that, because it's not about something scripted, but it's about something real, something that comes from the heart, something that comes from the hands, something that comes from the will of the people. And as you're talking, I could just look at your eyes and see your mind running back when you talk about Church Street, talk about your grandfather's store, the Simpson, all that. I could just see your mind running back, you going in there buying, some candy, some confection. You going to this store and that store and seeing the people in the community. That's what I'm seeing right now.
Yes, sir, and that's what it is. And Norfolk State was such a part of that. And I don't mean to just speak in terms of what was, because we have to remember, yesterday will not return. Right. Tomorrow needs to be our focus. But without the foundation of what yesterday was, tomorrow will elude us as it has in the past. And to understand what's going on with our young people, particularly the issues of violence that have happened all around our country, wherever it is that we live, after the crack epidemic, which has never been addressed in our nation and our communities, falling apart. This university here has the answers, has the resources. We just need to connect that part of the community back. And with us being a Division I university now, no more open admissions. And that saddens me, even though I'm so pleased with the progress, because without open admissions, I would not be able to say that I'm a graduate of Norfolk State, because 10th grade is the highest year of high school that I completed. And I went and received my GED and went into the Air Force Reserves and was activated after my first semester at Norfolk State for Operation Desert Shield, which turned into Operation Desert Storm. Absolutely. And then came back and completed my degree work. So again, I owe so much to the green and gold. I remember sitting with Dick Price when I was a child and him making it so I could come to the summer program. And then him becoming my fraternity brother, the stadium being built by Curtis Cole, who's also a fraternity brother, Absolutely. And being named after the legendary Dick Price. So many legends came through this university that have impacted our lives. And I want our children that are here in this city now to understand Norfolk State is a tremendous asset, and it looks very good on your resume, better than it ever has before with the growth of the university. But it is my plea, we need all hands on deck to help with these issues. Our young people that are experiencing such an uptick in violence, they don't know a day like we know when it wasn't that violent. Right. And we have to understand when we speak of the past to young people, we're really just telling them how old we are. And we have to listen to them, which I do, and understand their plight. They don't know a day any different. They don't have anything to compare it to when it was not this way. So it's almost like it's something extra in their DNA from a survival standpoint to deal with these things in this day. And I want to encourage the elders. Your work has not gone unnoticed. Your work is not forgotten, and we have not lost all. These days here are those days, but what's in us is in us, and this too we shall endure and we shall overcome as we have all things that have been presented before us.
And this is Stay the Water. I'm your host, Eric Lavelle, and you're joining us for our Community Impact Series as we have in studio none other than J.P. Paige, a product and a son of Norfolk and Norfolk State University, who has committed his life to staying in this community, serving it, not only from a business standpoint, U.S. veteran, but also as its city councilman in Ward 4. JP, we people that are listening, we don't have a script we're reading from. I mean, this is all coming from the heart, and I could just see your heart bleed for not just the city of Norfolk, definitely the green and gold,
yes,
but also the people,
yes,
the people of this community. I want to talk about two things, and we'll get into your work and on the city council and how you want to continue that moving on. But, business and the youth, I hear you mentioning about how this community was so vibrant with Black-owned businesses and so forth, and how the youth is struggling now. Tell us a little bit about how you believe the community can rise again with those vibrant Black businesses once again, and what, so some of the things that you envision with this community in helping get to that point.
Yes, with the help of the entrepreneurial program here at Norfolk State, the School of Business, I think as we push the various opportunities, I think before our children, we don't place enough emphasis on what success looks like, right, and truly what freedom is. Understanding America and this democracy that some think it is, which truly is a republic, is designed for you to create your own commons, and freedom exists amongst that.
Absolutely.
In 1995, research was done, and we, Black people in America, were the equivalent of the world's 7th richest nation. That was from the parent that was on welfare, raising many children, to the Michael Jacksons. If we had all pooled our money together and set foot on another land, day one that we landed, we would have been the equivalent of the world's 7th wealthiest nation. We are consummate consumers. The success that others find when they move to America is to open up a business in our community. We used to own our own community stores. We used to own our own clothing stores. We used to sell our own hair care products. Just the multi-billion-dollar industry that hair care is, and what it does for other groups of people that don't spend money back with us. And these are the areas where we need to begin to train our young people. In the state of Virginia, we have one Black-owned grocery store, and that is the E. Palmer Market over in Berkeley. It is here in Norfolk, in Ward 4, around the street from Norfolk State. They do accept student IDs for students to spend money. And the community is so much safer than other communities that our young people are going to. Yeah. We need our children to understand as they grow the importance of investing back into your own community and the importance of doing business, not just with people that look like you, but definitely with people that look like you, and doing business with everybody. There's a wealth that is amongst us that goes untapped because our vision is blurred by the grass looking greener on the other side. What we have already is what everybody else wants. We just don't know that we have it.
I tell you what, that is definitely the truth. You just dropped some golden nuggets in this place, brother. When you talk about business, you mentioned the youth as well. We have so much talent,
yes,
that's here in our community.
Yes. Of
course, when you step on this campus, it just exudes talent. I mean, products like yourself and many others that have come from this institution. But, there's also a lack of hope,
yes,
that our young people have, especially when you mentioned an uptick in violence. And I think a lot of the violence comes from that lack of hope. Tell us about how you interact with the youth, and especially the young men, and how you, through your work, you encourage them to see beyond what they see.
Well, it's very important that we stay connected.
And that's important because a lot of people, they leave.
Yes.
The community they grow in. You're still here.
And not only still here, I have options. I can go sit in the room with those that are well off and probably better my personal position. But I have an allegiance to where it is that I came from, Sankufta. We used to go to college and get educated to go back home for our families and for our communities. And we have a greater need for that in our communities now than ever before. Young black men sometimes hear so many conversations coming from so many directions, but how many images do they have? And how often do they have the opportunity to deal with someone that's walked the same path that they've walked, that has not always made the appropriate decisions, that have experienced some of the pitfalls of the stacking of trauma on trauma, which it is that we live within our community, and to be able to inspire them that you too, if you try, as I did, one day can get to a place where others can see the work that you've done. It does not happen overnight. Just like as a people, we didn't get to the place we're in today overnight. We will not get to the next place in a day. We have to begin to put work in to work there. I study other groups of people. One that I ask people to pay attention to is the Indians that travel and make it here. They're hoteliers. Their last name is Patel, and when you look it up, Patel in some terms is said to be a hotelier or a person of business. And if you don't know, you would think everybody with the last name Patel is some kin to each other. They came to this country with a plan, but it was built off of the sacrifice of their elders and their ancestors. They came and bought the hotels that were going out of business, that were on the sides of the road, and they slept in those hotels. They saved their money. They ate dinner together. They didn't go out. They paid for other family members to come over and take over when they bought new hotels. They had a plan, and today they're the fastest growing social group in the United States of America. Because of the work that they're doing. We understand that everybody was not enslaved. Everybody was not forced into the trauma that we were. But that is beyond us. That is not our fault. But if we want to do something to make our lives better, we must accept that it's our responsibility and it is our burden. No longer can we speak of what was. We must begin to prepare and do for what will be, because our fate and our destiny is in our hands. So the hope and the inspiration for our young people, it will come from nowhere but us. So I encourage other black men to remember that our young people learn twice as much by what they see as they do by what they hear. To make yourself present and visible, just show up. Don't tell a young person to pull their pants up. Be in a place where they can see you wearing your pants pulled up.
In our great fraternity, we have our God Right program that mentor young men, to see the light and to be guided in the right direction. So many success stories, from that program.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about the mentorship that you do, to the young men, and not just young men, but young women and young people in the community here.
Well, I try to focus on the young men, and I try to keep the men with the men and the women with the women. It's significant, but definitely the young women too. We cannot leave them out because they are experiencing a great deal of trauma in these days too. And you may not be aware of this because of the recent addition to our chapter and coming, but I was significant in bringing the God Right program back to the Norfolk alumni chapter. Actually, the work that we did won national awards in our fraternity. It was trend-setting. It was ahead of its time. And quietly, I believe that we were the model nationally of what needed to be done for God Right to be as great as it is again now in Kappa Alpha Psi. And it was such a interesting time with Brother Anthony Walters being the pole mark and being this.
Also NSU alumni.
Yeah, also NSU alumni. EZ is the chapter, and being the CEO of the YMCA. And at the time, he was just the director of one of the locations. And the fact that our God Right program started off in 1922 in a YMCA. Wow. And the fact that we gave everything that we had to touching the lives of young people one of the biggest events that we did, our signature event, was to just show up basketball game where we got all of the Kappa chapters around to bring their guide-writing Kappa leaguers to NSU basketball game. And, man, we would pack one half of the stadium. And it was a beautiful sight for them to sit with us, for them to eat with us, and greater than anything, for them to be exposed to Norfolk State University the same way that I was as a child. Yeah, so the green and gold to start breathing in you early, to be a part of the excitement that happens here at our university. So we don't just talk about it, we are about it. And today, it is a new day, and finding people to mentor with the short falls that schools may have by having a lack of men that want to go in and teach the young children. We all have to show up. This is a problem that belongs to all of us, whether you consider yourself a family that has overcome some of the blights and pitfalls of us here in this nation or not. If you don't reach back and help a child, that same child you don't help may encounter your child later in life in a situation that does not turn out well. So we have to think of all of the children being all of ours and all of our responsibilities. So I need programs. I need people that are doing great work, but I need people that are happy with doing that great work, that don't have ulterior motives, that want to go do other things. That's one of the challenging parts of being a leader. You find people, you put them in place, you give them the relationships, then they take credit for it, and then they want to do things that come against you. So here on your show, what I want to say, and I want to say it in a pleasant way, but I'm so serious about it. Whoever you are, male or female, black or not black, if you have a heart to help young black boys, your heart is not right if you want to harm black men. You cannot do both. So if it is in your heart that you want to harm black men, you truly want to harm black boys, because these are future black men. And if you don't have the ingredients to work with what it is that they will become with certainty, then you don't have the heart to work with them.
You know, I want to add something to what you just said. You said this is our problem, but I want to say this is our opportunity.
Yes, it is.
To do something great, as you have done yourself. You know, I want to segue into your work as a servant leader who has been chosen by the people to represent them. You know, you are the city councilman for this ward, Ward 4, which Norfolk State sits in. You also have many, many other businesses and also organizations that sit within your community. I want to ask for just for the purpose of our audience, why did you choose at this moment in time in your history to say, you know what, I want to represent and do more in my community at this level?
It was definitely spiritual. I had gotten to a place, I've always known my ancestry, the great things that my ancestors have done here in this area. My great-great-grandfather, Richard G.L. Paige. And my life does not match where I am from my earlier experiences. But I got an understanding at the time as the decision was being made that everything that I had endured for my entire life was to prepare me for this moment in my life, because I am in my purpose. So all of that was practice. That was preparatory. And those experiences that I thought were not so good have turned out to be great from a knowledge base of what it is that I can do now for other young people. I spend time in non-traditional places with young people. One of my favorite places to spend time with young people in the city of Norfolk is the Norfolk Detention Home, because I'm also an alum of the juvenile justice system. And I understand how critical it is for these young people and where they are with the decisions that they've made because of hurt that was in them that they did not know how to deal with as it was in me. And the power getting over that and what it is that you can do for your community and for others. So it's really a hard thing to put into words, but I had to do this. It was for the sake of all of us. Who was going to come behind the great Paul Riddick, who was the only person to serve in Norfolk for Ward 4. I'm only the second person in the history of Ward 4, a position, for those that don't know, that was specifically set up for it to be equity amongst blacks and whites in this city.
That's right.
It was a seat that was designed for black folk, the whole. And I hate that in this day that I have to share that for everybody to understand our plight. If you want to help us, but understand what you have to do to help us and from whence we come to do that. And the city has grown in tremendous bounds, but for whatever reason, on our side of the town, that growth has not been equal. We've lost more than we have gained. What I've discovered within Ward 4 is that Ward 4 is the heartbeat of Norfolk. 47.5% of all tax revenue, sales tax revenue generated comes from Ward 4. Ward 4 is the transportation hub, not only to this city, but the transportation hub of this region.
Absolutely.
We have the airport, which is growing at a tremendous rate. We're going to have international flights and service very soon. This is happening right before your eyes. The light rail station right here outside of the campus, that is Ward 4. Any bus that leaves the city of Norfolk is Ward 4, right out of Poplar Halls, where the Flex bus station is. And the HRT station sits right off of Monticello in between 18th and 20th. That also,
Ward 4.
Ward 4. There are more hotels in Ward 4 than anywhere in the city, up and down Military Highway and the corridor close to the airport. The shopping for this revenue was the Janif Military Circle corridor and now the outlets.
And I know a lot of people right now are anticipating what's going to happen next to Military Circle. Prime real estate.
Yes, sir.
Prime.
And we're going to make sure that we make the right decision for Military Circle. So please be patient. There was a lot of talk, but we have to do what's right for the long-term investment of Norfolk and what's going to work. Not only is that Military Circle, we're below sea level everywhere but there. Military Circle is the highest ground in this city. That sits in Ward 4. Quietly, our industrial park, where more businesses come to, 1/3 of new business revenue to this city come from Ward 4. So we've looked at it from an aspect of what goes on with the population inside of Ward 4 without paying attention to the total population of Ward 4. So I said when I was running the first time, new vision for Ward 4. All I had to do was do the research, find out what actually Ward 4 was and what it contributed, and the vision has created itself. No one needs to hold their head down about being a part of Ward 4. In the reverse, you need to hold your head up about Ward 4. Yeah, because Ward 4 is what this city stands on. It is what it has stood on. And the way things are going, it will continue to stand on the back of Ward 4.
Well, listen, in our last moments on this show, listen, we could talk for hours, brother, as we always do. And I'm glad the people got a chance to hear from not just the myth, the legend, but the man with the heart and the passion, for this community. You want to continue doing this. You want to continue being that servant leader, that community leader. You said new vision when you first ran. The second time around, what's your message to the people in Ward 4?
Well, we need to continue and we need the implementation. I need to be here for the transitions that's being planned through NRHA and HUD getting out of the property management business. That's coming down federally. Yeah. And it takes a certain talent to make sure that our perspective as a whole is being dealt with. Those that envision City Council as this great, beautiful place to be, I'm not saying it's not that, but the part you don't see is the sacrifice, the work that it takes to do this. This is not just the honor to walk around and say, hey, I'm elected. It's about the work that you do. So I don't stand on the fact that I broke records getting elected. Nobody won with as many votes as I did in the history of Norfolk's Ward 4 elections, and maybe other elections too.
Absolutely.
So I've done the work to do that and better this time coming forward. I pulled in communities that have felt like they were marginalized and didn't have anyone to represent them. So I leave and close with this. I care so much about this community. When the person appears to take my place, that's going to be able to do what it is that I'm doing and bring some more to the table, you don't have to worry about an election, because I'm going to get behind and support that person too. That's the kind of work that is required to do this. And it's going to take a special person to continue this work that we're doing in Ward 4. I was born in this. I was born for this. And I have connected with that purpose. And for the rest of my years, I'm committed to the betterment of us. And our city is known as the Mermaid City. But where we live, black folk in this city, we call it Shark City. And what I want us all to do is have a place as pleasant enough to be called the Mermaid City.
And you heard it here. The leader, the veteran, the business owner, and the councilman, the servant leader for Ward 4, here on the Community Impact Series on State of the Water, J.P. Paige. And once again, I want to thank you for joining us as you always do. And until next time, be good, be great, God bless, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Carrie Washington, and you're listening to State of the Water with award-winning host Dr. Eric Claville.